Wasco, Wishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor the land and traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a community to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. I hereby call this first meeting of the Hood River County Transportation District Budget Committee to order at 5 p.m. on the 23rd of May, 2024. Tia, can you please take roll call?
Yes, I have Jeremy.
Here.
Tamara. Here. Matt.
Here.
Greg. Leanne.
Here.
Cindy. Here. And Bo.
Yes.
All right. All yours, Jeremy.
Awesome. Thank you. Minutes were included in the packet. Are there any changes that need to be made?
No.
I don't believe so. I didn't see any. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of our last budget committee meeting. I'll second.
Nice. Let me get her a second. Does anyone have any changes they want us to consider? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? I vote in favor. So it passes. Fantastic. You have received the updated LB20 option A and option B in your packet per the committee's request. Does anyone have any comments or questions for the staff?
Was it clear the changes and updates that were made?
It was for me as well. Yeah.
I did have one question. So I had to label them A and B on mine.
It makes sense.
And you talk about where the 14,000. You've got a new contract grant for $14,000.
Yeah, so there is we in partnership with City of Sandy, so they are leading a grant that is looking at different type of transit technologies, and they had included us in the application, and I didn't get an understanding of what that total commitment from us was, or like the definitive amount until the past couple weeks. So I did include that. This will help our ongoing efforts in our current technology grant that we have, to give us a little bit more consultant time to ensure that we're putting the right technology in our bus as we're going forward.
The point I was confused on,
Yes.
that does show a reduction in our contingency.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
which I didn't.
Wasn't
Pick up
clear in
there.
the memo. Okay.
And from the first additional, the 4,000 to increase the admin assistant position,
Mm-hmm.
that also comes out of the contingency.
Correct.
Okay.
So it just means that there's less available.
But in the memo, it said it would be covered by current grants.
The meaning there should be enough funds, but there would be probably some implication. Yeah, so and it does kind of take from the contingency, but how that would actually work out is a little unclear.
Okay. Okay, I mean, that was just I thought those weren't gonna pull the contingency down. The third one was, but they all pull the contingency.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and the grant is a matching, correct? We have to match those funds. The Sandy.
Yes, so it's a match.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not, there's not additional funds coming in. It's just, it's simple. You need to do that.
Side note,
Mm-hmm.
where is Sandy? I mean,
Around the mountain.
Yeah.
around the mountain.
Mhm.
Where is she?
Yep.
Well, and Yeah. But it's like, how do we get connected with Sandy? Cause I thought, yeah,
So we're all part of the Vision Around the Mountain Network. And so we've done quite a bit of work with them, but they're also a small rural transit agency. So we've come together in several different forums in order to learn from each other.
And I talk to the planners
Yeah.
in the city of Sandy a lot because they are so similar to us.
Mhm.
There's
yeah.
They also have, so they work with Clackamas, and Clackamas County is the one that does the Mount Hood Express. So which goes Clackamas County, City of Sandy up to Mount Hood Meadows as well. So when we had our government camp stop, we kind of connect as well.
Okay.
So cool.
That was my main question.
Yes.
So thank
I'm
you for
sorry that wasn't
clarification.
more clear in the memo. But yeah, they all will impact the contingency a bit.
Hey, Amy, question on option A. So much smaller incremental cost on option A versus option B, moving an administrative assistant to a project coordinator. I'm assuming you have a candidate, and that candidate meets the requirements in your mind for that position and what you want to accomplish in moving forward for FY25.
Correct. Our current administrative assistant, he has been helping with us with a lot of projects. I have held back with giving him some tasks because I felt it was a little higher than his scope, and I always want to make sure I am paying my employees equal to what the work is that I'm having them do. So at his current pay and at the current scope of administrative assistant, I just didn't want to throw too much of this stuff on him. But if we did change his title and the scope a bit, allow him to continue to do the work that he's doing, which it would after my review of similar roles, and then also take on some more project assistance. Yeah. And he started with us, I don't know, I want to say like 6-7 months ago. So he's gone through that initial period. He's taken on continuously more work. And he is at that point where he can take on additional work.
Have you sussed him out at all? Is he
We
interested?
we have. And yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
done?
Oh, just we've sussed him out.
Okay.
He is he would be amenable to that, and it really likes doing some of the project work that we've had him do so far.
So I wrote, when I read this at home last night, I wrote that I want a caveat in the approval that the effectiveness of this position we added at the end of this next fiscal year, that you look at, does this person, has that person done the job well, or is it too much work? Do you really need a second person just reviewing the feasibility of it?
Yeah, and some other things that I didn't necessarily include in here because they're still kind of a work in progress is, so this fall I'm working with Kathy Fitzpatrick from MCED to craft the next iteration of application for the Gorge Transit Network and the Gorge Transit Network. And what we're looking at is potentially having some project management piece in that grant as well. Because a lot of the different agencies that are part of the Gorge Transit Network, they're looking at capital projects, big projects that they don't really have the capacity at as of now. So having whether it's MCED or whoever or Kathy have take on more of a project management role to move those big capital projects forward could be seen as a big benefit. So that would be part of another grant. And then in my strategy thinking is that they could work with Tim and Tia to kind of move these projects along. So this would be the first step in my master plan having more project management
And I'm just
assistant.
suggesting
Yeah.
review the first step at the beginning of the
Oh,
next budget.
100%. Yeah, and we can make a note of that and make sure we include that in our, as part of our first meeting. So we don't forget. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
And mine was on what you explained made it much more clear. As I've been saying, you're stretched really thin, but his position has been brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's great that you're willing to grow within.
Yeah, and I say this all the time to my staff. We are a growing agency, right? So that means that over time we need to kind of assess what we need, but also assess kind of what's common in the industry, and evaluate. And also, I really like to give my employees some freedom of doing the things that we need to do, right? Because there's always those things that we have to do, but exploring the ideas that are interesting to them, and give them an opportunity, as long as it's relevant to the business, to take a stab at them and go forth. I want to say go forth.
Take a stab at it.
Maybe not that. I was also gonna do go forth and prosper, but I was like, man, I'm making a lot of references to things. Yeah. Oh no, there we go. Jeremy, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, great.
Okay. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Did you have any questions, Jeremy?
No, that's all I had.
I just had one other thing. I mean, I can support any of the three budgets.
Yeah.
And I think the question is more to the board and what the board thinks about this. But I was just looking at overall operating budgets for the last few years. And you've gone from 1.8 million to 2.5 million to 4 million to this year, it's a $6 million proposed budget.
Mhm.
And do you have the staff
Yeah.
to keep managing that?
That's
That's kind of my concern.
Yep.
And that's actually really much more of a question for the board
Yeah.
who are more into this. But I would be comfortable supporting any of these proposals. But I think you're gonna need more people, and it sounds like you do have a little master plan with
Yeah.
working with other people, which is great. But I would hate to see a year from now that we couldn't take advantage of some of this money because we didn't have the staff team.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I think one thing, and then I'll let the board members, answer this more specifically. A lot of this money too is capital grants, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. But then also with the increase in salaries and just operational costs, that has inflated those costs too. And then
Still, that's a lot of.
it is a
growth.
lot of money, yes, and it is a lot of growth. So I want you guys to think about that and answer that. And the one other thing about the contingency is just because it's removing some of that contingency, it doesn't mean that we're not necessarily have the funds to cover it. It's not necessarily taking from the reserve. It just means there's less kind of extra funds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But however, with that option B, we definitely would be digging into the reserve. So if we brought in another project manager, or not another, but a project manager, we would definitely be digging in there a little bit.
But you still have what looks to me to be a very healthy bottom line.
Yep.
So.
We do. And part of that too is I'm trying to, again, it's a little bit of my master plan as well. Because we have these EV buses that are going to be coming in probably in the next couple of years. I'm trying to ensure that we have, if I can get more of our funds to be able to pay for that match, so I have to do less of a loan, that is always ideal. So that's kind of part of that master plan as well. But Tamara and Matt, do you want to speak to what your thoughts are on the growth of the budget?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll start. I'm a new board member. So in terms of like the long-term trend, maybe not the best person to talk to you about that, but it seems like to me personally, option A would be, my favorite. I feel like it's more organically grown, where we've kind of brought candidate X in, if we're not supposed to name his name. He's up to speed. He knows operations, and I think it's a great opportunity to show your employees that, okay, you can grow with us. And $4,000 hit. I mean, it's just kind of peanuts, right? So, I guess my question would be, at the end of the year, and to your point, Cindy, to kind of reassess, do we need them to add another administrative assistant, or how? I guess that's the question I would have, is how do you address that next year if you find that, maybe you need another part-time or full-time employee?
Yeah, and I think so my other kind of little buffer in here is the weekend dispatch. So if we are awarded those grant funds that I just applied for, and it is included in this budget, then that would give us another individual who is be a dispatcher, obviously work the weekend, but also there's 3 weekdays as part of that too. And he could help with some of the administrative load if we're finding that's a problem. So that's my other kind of backup. And to your point, yeah, I mean, I think the whole time I've been here, we kind of have to reevaluate the different positions. And I think we're getting close to, finding what that idealized structure is. It's kind of hard. It's really hard to look at other transit districts within Oregon because everybody's structured differently. And most transportation districts are also somehow affiliated with the city or the county that they reside in. So they can have a lot of those administrative functions through those organizations. We do not have that. I've been kind of playing with some of the other special districts of, what we could potentially do there. And of course, we've been talking about that with Gorge Transit, but I don't think there's anything that would impact this budget or even probably the next budget. But that's always something I'm trying to think about, is how can there be economies of scale, or potentially how can we, band together and use our resources most efficiently.
You seem like you have a vision, like every time we talk, right? It's like, you know where you're going, which I really appreciate. What's, ultimately it's going to be a group decision. What's your favorite option?
My favorite option would be option A, because it allows us to do kind of that step approach and to really see what fits, and to give, to your point, our staff the opportunity to kind of grow. And then it also gives us some time to see how this next grant application is going to play out with the Gorge Transit and Gorge TransLink, and to see how we can all the Gorge Transit providers can work together to even provide more project management. And I think that could be pretty beneficial too, because we're all looking at big capital projects that would need some sort of NEPA requirements. And NEPA, if you guys have ever dealt with NEPA, it's a bull, and it's good to have someone who really has a good understanding on that. And I think if you have one kind of centralized person that is kind of the main contact for that type of stuff, and then everybody kind of learns from that person and also does their own due diligence, I think we have the better chance for success, and less duplication of work.
What is that?
It's national. It's National Natural
National
Environmental Protection Act. So
Is it a regulation or a law?
It's a federal.
Agency? Okay.
Yeah.
All the above.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Probably
more.
more.
Yeah.
So-
It's so much.
So anytime we add any infrastructure, and sometimes it can be as simple as a bus stop, it triggers NEPA requirements, and those can be as simple as going through a categorical exclusion, which still takes staff time, or it can be as complicated as needing consultants to do archaeological reviews, historical preservation reviews, a lot of other different things.
And especially since we're in the national scenic area.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So-
everywhere.
I apologize.
It's over in the river, but I don't have to worry about that.
And now in the
What
city.
is Gorge Transit?
Yeah, so Great question. So
No.
we are part of, well, it's formerly called Gorge TransLink Alliance, and we're kind of shifting towards the Gorge Transit name. But it includes ourselves, the Link in Wasco County, Mount Adams Transportation Services in Klickitat, and Skamania County Transit in Skamania County.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
All the way to Skamania.
Yeah.
That's great.
So we
So
all,
like an umbrella. The,
yeah, so we have an IGA with all of the different providers for our Gorge Pass, our Gorge Transit Pass, Fare Pass. So that one little card, people can get unlimited fixed route services on all of our services together. We also work, not only do we have the same fare system, at least for the Gorge Pass, but we've been working on regional transit coordination and looking at what Gorge Transit is going to look like in 20 years, and how we need to grow in a systematic approach.
And how many employees in Hood River are gonna have to come from somewhere else?
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I did enjoy, you just changed the schedules and saw the Link bus right behind the Cat bus the other day. I was like, oh.
Yep.
Synergized schedule right there.
Yeah, I love the synergies and our pulse points here at CAT. So it's really exciting. Yeah, that was so for our most recent accomplishment, I would say, is we reworked the Columbia Gorge Express schedule as well as the other providers' schedules to ensure there is less transfer wait time to get throughout the gorge. So, yeah, that was a lot of work.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Having to work with all 4 jurisdictions.
All 4 jurisdictions, but it's a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like an LSAT.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Who needs to be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like we actually had to put little lines and
It wasn't,
Strings.
it's like
Yeah.
when I first moved here, the Columbia Gorge Express, there was kind of like 2 buses that would take you to the airport or Portland, but like one was not run by the other. What I call them, the years ago. Well, there's one at this time, but we don't really have anything to do with that. And I was like what?
I
Now it's just
remember
like one
those
thing,
days.
and that's it.
yeah. And so ODOT used to operate the service,
Okay.
and then it was a little bit before my time, so I don't remember all the intricacies.
It was a
But-
mess.
Yeah.
It was during my time.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to say,
ODOT didn't think we could do it.
right, they're
And
very
they-
responsible at this time. We don't have anything with that.
They ran it for a year or so, and then they said, "Oh no, you guys can have it."
Yeah.
It was very confusing for a
Okay.
while, but it was also, you had to get a different pass for the Dalles bus, you had to get a different pass for the Mount Adams bus, and that just meant people didn't use all of them.
Mhm.
So the synergy that you've finally been able to get is just amazing.
Mhm.
And it's actually a model that I would wish they would use in other aspects of special districts, like
Yeah.
pools or something like that. Who knows?
That was a loaded one. But yes, I agree with you. I think it's good. Yeah.
So it's the trajectory is that we keep on making small little improvements like that to make it easier and more convenient for people to use transit throughout the gorge.
And I came from another special district bus program when I moved here and stuff. So of course I wanted to get on transportation, and I've always been interested in it, and so I've lived in different areas and I look at it and I think that my time here is 2 years, going on 3 years now. The growth that Amy and her team has been able to bring to this program coming off of COVID is phenomenal compared to other programs that I've seen. And so I think anything Amy puts on paper, it will come.
So a lot of pressure there.
You know, in your fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, the other thing is too, I feel it is the board's responsibility as we walk through this next year in the new budget to look at it and monitor where are we at. And also to watch Amy and the staff, because I came here and I'm looking at what they're doing and it's like, you have all that extra money in marketing. I question you on that. What's going on here? Because I know how important marketing is. And she talked about with the synergy she has and the linkage, they all put money in, so there is less expense. You know, those type of things, looking at that. So I do feel that our board has as much responsibility to make sure that we're looking at where we're at. And it's not just in here, it is, 2 months down the road, we have all these projects. Are we able to meet them because of government holding funds, or do the staff need more help? I have suggested that they steal from other locations, but they don't, they laugh at me when I say that. So, because, we have the connections there and everything, but we have a great program going here, and it is to Amy and Tia and
Gotta give my
everybody.
predecessors, a lot of credit for that too. Patty Fink was a powerhouse.
Yeah, I didn't know her, but yeah, that is, I think we have a great opportunity.
Yep.
And when I ride the bus into Portland, I talk to people that they have a home in Portland and a home here, and they take the bus back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on that point, I was talking with some people a week or so ago, and they were saying, oh, my son-in-law rides a bus and there's never anybody on it. So how can they make it go? So you might want to do a little bit more PR out there on what's happened to ridership since COVID. Because it definitely took a hit.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
But especially as we're coming into summer, and part of what helped CAT take off was parking got so abysmal downtown. Locals didn't want to drive downtown. So it's like, oh, there's a pink trolley. We can take the pink trolley.
Yeah.
And
Well-
now's a good time to motivate locals even to say, oh, there's buses.
And I know the Multnomah Falls, that's something, talking with my friends that live in Portland, and they say, yeah, we take the bus. Do you?
Yeah.
And so I know there are special gems that we have that are unique and that we can do.
Yeah.
And so
And I think there's definitely some opportunities. We were just talking about today at the Gorge Transit Alliance meeting of just, I think we need to do some more big pushes in Portland and some things like that. We're going into the summer season with locally, so there's going to be a lot more Gorge Transit push here. So yes, I think those are all very important, and we're going to be doing several presentations, kind of talking about the increase of ridership that we have seen.
That's important.
Yeah.
To do that we are growing.
Yeah. And when I'm at city council meetings, I've been able to, insert some data in there, because that's always been a conversation piece. I have to update my numbers for this fiscal year, but in fiscal year 23, we served over, or just under 80,000 riders. And so that was fiscal year, so that was July 1st, 2022, through June 30th, 2023. And we
1,000 individual rides.
Yep. And since then our ridership has increased overall too. So I'm really excited to see what fiscal year 24 is going to be like. Yeah.
But there is this conception that people have that the system's not working if the bus is not full.
100%.
And
Yep.
so the comparison to other districts or what the
Yep.
standard is also.
Yep. And I believe our boarded rides, double check, but I think we're averaging around 4 to 5 boarded rides per hour, which is industry standard. So
Certified what kind of ride?
4 to 5 boarded rides per hour.
Oh, boarded.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's a little higher in the summer season, and a little lower in
During
December.
storms.
Yeah, when we have to shut down. So yes, so sorry, just to bring it back. I think I really appreciate the push from the board members and the committee to encourage some more project management help. I think that's going to be important. I think option A with the project coordinator, that coupled with some future potential synergies with Gorge Transit, plus some of the consultants that we have. We now have an IT consultant, which is great. That can help us with just our technology, but also with some of our or like the standard IT responsibilities, but also can help us with some of these technology projects that we just don't have the expertise on, so they can help finish those. So I feel confident in the next year we can finish up the current grants that we have. And then after that, the big projects are these big capital projects that we've been talking about, and it's just laying the foundation for them. So I think and then of course the bus stop project. Yes, which we have 3 new bus stops coming online on July 1st.
Where are they?
So 5th and Cascade. We're relocating the 4th and Columbia stop to 5th and Cascade.
Is 4th and Columbia the first one?
So we are relocating the 4th and Columbia
Oh.
stop, so that's in front of Double Mountain.
Okay.
We're relocating it to 5th and Cascade.
Oh, that makes sense. It's not as busy as it is. What?
Stop.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping this one, so my issue with the 4th and Columbia one, there's several. There's the operational issue that when there's a snow day or there's lots of snow on the ground, we can't go on that stop because of the incline.
Yep.
So then those riders are potentially out there waiting for someone and it can't come. So that's the operational issue. There are other issues are safety. There's so many conflicts at that intersection with Double Mountain, with pedestrians, and it's very concerning to me.
When I was the planner,
Yeah.
working with Double Mountain was really hard to not have them spill over into the street.
Yeah. And now there's full sill there too, so that just
Yeah.
makes additional conflict.
Yeah.
And one of my drivers the other day told me that he was having trouble kind of navigating how to move forward because there was a full sail cart with beer on it. So it just makes me feel.
Plus, it's beer.
Yeah. So and then the other issue with that is so the route continues to what turns into Wasco. And so it's a right turn. It's only 2 stop signs. So there's some through traffic. And so that concerns me with those potential safety issues. So with rerouting that route and not going down 4th and Columbia and using 5th and Cascade instead, we won't have to change it if there are snow days, so that it would be the same route. And then also that there's less
You've got
left
public property
turns.
on 2 sides of you that will
Yeah.
never get built out.
There's it would be in front of there's some landowners or some
Yeah, there's a
buildings
few,
with it,
but
yeah.
mainly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be much wider than the other.
Yeah, and then so it's a 4-way stop too, going onto the street that turns into Wasco, which to me is a big safety assistance. And then the stop would be right next to an existing chair parklet thing, and then also for low income and seniors and individuals with disabilities, it gives them direct access to the farmers market in the summer,
Yeah, that's just so cool.
which I think is a huge need.
Yeah.
Lining up the
You know what I mean?
whole, whatever she puts in front of it will happen.
Well, yes, and still, ask all the hard questions, because that's, I need you guys to pick at those. But I appreciate the support. But yeah, so there's the 5th and Cascade. There is some public concern on that, so we are addressing that with the city. And then the other ones, which are new stops because they've become informal stops through our flag stop program, is the 8th and Seaver Crop location. So over by Aaron's place. And then the other one is 11th and June. nope, sorry, 11th and Pine. Yeah, 11th and Pine.
Oh, 11th.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who've made that an informal stop. So all of these would require some parking to be removed. So we notified the impacted businesses. So our target date is July 1st to implement those. Yeah. Okay, yes. So, and those are things that the administrative assistant or potentially the project coordinator can help move forward. Yes. All right, any other thoughts, questions?
So what do we need to do?
I move,
Oh, well, I think, so I think let's, public comment. Jeremy, could you maybe take us on to the public comment piece?
Yes, I can. Now is the opportunity for public comment regarding FY 2024-2025. Does anyone, any member of the public have any comment about the budget or issues pertaining to the budget?
And there's no members of the public here and none online.
Okay, should I move to 5?
You're part of the budget committee, so if you'd like to discuss or bring up a comment, we can have discussion.
Your official public.
You're,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, capital O.
Yeah. All right, since I'm not hearing any public comment or seeing any members of the public, if you want to move to agenda item 5.
Yeah, let's do it. Would the committee like to make any changes, or are we ready to approve the budget and tax rate and make a recommendation to the board for final approval? I think that's a question. Any changes? No?
Or sorry, I guess maybe Claire, is there a specific, would you like the updated version, the option A or the option B?
I move to approve option A into our budget.
Second.
I think that's, I think we need a second.
Yeah, I seconded it, yeah, sorry, you didn't hear me, quiet.
Go ahead.
We got the second.
Oh, you did get a second, my apologies. Does anyone have any changes they want us to consider on that option? No, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Oh, sorry, hold on.
Or no,
Oh.
no.
Your I?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right,
All opposed? Chair votes in favor. I believe the motion passes.
Correct.
Yay.
Yay.
Well done. All right, let's move to tax rate. Exciting stuff.
Is the tax rate.
We are not.
Is that good with you, Amy? Should I move to tax rate?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Staff is not making recommendations to the change in tax rates and is recommending the budget committee approve the tax rate of 0.0723 per $1,000 assessed. Can I get someone to make a motion for the tax rate of 0.0723 per 1,000?
I move that rate remain the same.
Second.
Perfect. Got a second. Does anyone have any changes? Or do you want anything else to consider?
I guess I just have the general question of what happens if we want to change? How does that, do we have to go to the county and they have to?
So it'd have to be recommended to the board first, and then the board would have to go to the county. Right, that process.
Sorry, I'm just curious.
And there had to be a vote.
All right,
Did we approve that?
sorry, I don't think we got the
Apologies.
full,
Was there any questions or changes asked or being made?
No.
No? Okay. All in favor?
oh, sorry, can we get a motion?
We did.
Oh, we did?
did,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay. I think
All
we
right,
had a
sorry.
motion, I think we had a second. All in favor?
I,
All opposed? Chair, is in favor. So that passes as well.
Great.
Just had one question on the property tax revenue. It
Mhm.
hasn't been going up.
Yes, we were being very conservative with
Okay.
that. We have moved it to our own held LGIP account.
Right.
So we're hoping to kind of get a little bit,
Better handle on it.
Yeah.
But with more houses being built and assessed values going up, the amount should be growing, even though we're not increasing the rate.
we also had some loss from urban renewal districts as well, haven't we?
yeah.
Okay.
They're,
Good point.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
we do.
Yeah, I can do that. Unless, I can run through the last one. Is there any other discussion? I'm happy to keep it open if you guys want to.
Yeah, you did a good job on the budget.
Excellent job.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate all your help.
I agree. All right, unless there's any other issues, concerns, we can adjourn the meeting. Is someone willing to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair approves. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank
so that
you.
adjourns at 5:43 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Well done, Amy and team.